A true crime podcast said my boyfriend's name, and then people tried to end our lives. I was cleaning our apartment listening to a podcast about a massacre from 12 years ago, where an entire wedding party of 30 people was murdered at a vineyard. The sole survivor was the groom's brother, Trevor Maddox, who escaped through a wine cellar and vanished that night, the host said. Police believe he witnessed who orchestrated the killings. Then they played a new tip from a listener. I swear I saw Trevor Maddox 3 months ago in Seattle going by Colin Reeves. Same scar above his left eyebrow, same everything. My boyfriend was named Colin Reeves. We lived in Seattle, and he had that exact scar. I walked into our bedroom where Colin was working on his laptop. Babe, this podcast just said someone saw a missing person named Trevor Maddox using your name in Seattle. His fingers froze over the keyboard. Without looking at me, he said, how many people listen to that podcast? I checked my phone. It says 2 million downloads per episode. He slammed the laptop shut and stood up so fast his chair fell backward. We have 15 minutes to disappear or we're both dead. Colin ripped open our closet and pulled out a bag I'd never seen before, filled with cash, passports, and weapons. My name is Trevor Maddox, and 12 years ago, I watched my brother and his entire wedding party get executed by professional killers because he was going to testify against the Kozlov crime family. My legs went weak. You've been lying to me for 2 years? He grabbed my face with both hands. Listen to me very carefully. The podcast just gave them my exact location and alias. They probably have kill teams mobilizing right now. He threw clothes at me. Pack only what you can carry and leave your phone here. I was shaking as I stuffed things into a backpack. Why didn't you run when you heard they were looking? He loaded a magazine into a pistol. Because I fell in love with you and got stupid and comfortable. A car alarm went off outside and he rushed to the window. They're here. 3 black SUVs just pulled up. My blood turned to ice. How do they move that fast? He pulled me away from the window. They have people everywhere waiting for exactly this kind of break. Glass shattered in the living room and smoke started filling the apartment. Tear gas, they're coming in hot, he said, pulling me toward the bathroom. There's an access panel to the building's old laundry chute behind the water heater. He ripped the panel off and shoved me inside. Slide down to the basement. I'm right behind you. I heard our front door explode as I dropped into darkness. Colin crashed down next to me and pulled me toward a service tunnel I didn't know existed. I mapped every escape route when we moved in, he said as we ran through the darkness. Footsteps thundered above us and I heard someone shout, they're in the infrastructure, seal the exits. We burst out into an underground parking garage and Colin hotwired a maintenance van in 10 seconds. Where did you learn that? I gasped. You learn a lot when you're running for your life, he said, slamming the accelerator. We crashed through the parking gate and onto the street where 2 SUVs immediately started following us. Colin took a hard left and I screamed as we went up on 2 wheels. There's something else you need to know, he said, weaving through traffic. I didn't just randomly stay in Seattle even though it was dangerous. There's something I still haven't told you. An SUV rammed us from behind and we spun out, slamming into a concrete barrier. Men in tactical gear surrounded the van with weapons drawn. Step out slowly, hands visible, they shouted. Colin looked at me with tears in his eyes. I'm sorry for everything, he said, then stepped out with his hands up. That's when I heard it. Sirens, dozens of them, converging from every direction. FBI vehicles surrounded the SUVs, and agents in full tactical gear swarmed the men who'd been chasing us. Federal agents, weapons down, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder, racketeering, and 30 counts of homicide. Colin pulled out a badge I'd never seen before. Special Agent Trevor Maddox, FBI. I've been undercover for 3 years gathering evidence on the Kozlov organization. I sat in an FBI interrogation room as Colin, or Trevor, or whoever he was, explained that after the wedding massacre, the FBI recruited him to go undercover and get close to the Kozlov Seattle operations, which is why he'd stayed despite the risk. Meeting you wasn't part of the plan, he said, but falling for you was real, even if nothing else was. We found out the podcast had actually been planted by the FBI to flush out the kill teams they knew were in Seattle. I was free to go, but would need to be in protective custody until the trial. As agents led me out, Colin grabbed my hand. After I testify, I'm done running. Wait for me? I pulled my hand away and kept walking, but stopped at the door. Your whole life was a lie, but you made me feel safer than anyone ever has. So yeah, I'll wait. 6 months later, after the trial ended with the entire Kozlov organization going to prison for life, Trevor showed up at my door and we started over with the truth this time.